Hi guys, welcome back to the Uncensored Voice. This is Randolph Macias, your host, and my fellow comrade here, Lieutenant Colonel Andrew Vicencio, U.S. Army retired.
22 years.
22 years, Afghanistan. Thank you for your service, Colonel. I really appreciate your time.
Hey, thanks for having me, brother.
No problem. I've come to call him Andy most times, but...
yeah, just call me Andy, it's fine. This is very informal, this is a very solemn interview, you know, what we're going to get into, and we're going to connect what's going on overseas in Afghanistan at the federal level, state level, and local level. We're gonna do the whole gambit here.
Tell us, who is this man here?
Clinton Thomas Newman. I met him as a specialist at the 321st Civil Affairs Brigade back in 2001 and 2. Great guy, great friend. We weren't like super close friends, but when I knew him that one year, just a very likable fellow. Strong patriot, very, very family-oriented type guy, very loyal to his country, and it's very unfortunate he was killed in an IED in Afghanistan, and that's why it just pains me that the way we have pulled out of there. Yeah, I know that Afghanistan had to end. I got it, but the problem is that the way we're getting out of there is not looking very good at all, and it kind of like dishonors and disgraces Clinton's sacrifice to the 20 years that we have been there. And make no doubt about it. Myself, Clinton, and some of the other folks here that were in the OEF conflict over the last 20 years, we held terrorism at bay. So, you know, however the woke liberals and the other peripheral people that are on the sideline Monday morning quarterbacking this. I've been there 16 months. Clinton, I think, had 2 tours there. I'm not really sure. I knew he had 1 tour there for sure. But the way they cookie cut it, unless you were over there, you have no idea, okay? So I just want to make that very clear.
During, I did a little bit of research during the time that you were in, did Osama bin Laden surface sometime in 2004 in Afghanistan?
There were times where there were that the CIA and other special ops operatives spotted him at various places, but they could never really get a fix on where he was and so forth. They suspected that he was in the mountains in Afghanistan. They suspected even inside Pakistan, and Pakistan's a different. That's another kind of like an item on the shelf there as well. Were they really harboring this guy, or they just didn't know themselves? I don't know, because it is rough countryside and so forth. So we'll never really know unless you declass those files on, you know, at the time when Obama, during his time and so forth. So
I remember the time when Obama did a press conference, a very formal one,
right,
where he walked down a long hallway and he announced that Osama bin Laden
we got him,
killed.
Right.
And we all know that the guy talks on about Fox News, a lot of interviews. He's the one known that he shot, you know, Osama bin Laden. So,
exactly.
And in my eyes, I think he's a hero too.
Right.
For actually putting.
Yeah, the Delta Force guy that actually killed bin Laden and so forth.
God bless him for that.
Gotcha.
Do you think that it's is this a mission complete thing for Afghanistan or not? I think.
Well, let's turn the clock. We'll turn the clock back to when President Trump was downsizing the presence there, and during his administration, he was trying to end it. Now, but the difference here is that, and this current Biden will never admit it. He'll double down, triple down on it. That he was in negotiations with the Taliban on, and these negotiations had stipulations. And if they weren't adhering to the stipulations, President Trump wasn't going to pull out those last 3,000 troops until they'd adhered to those stipulations. But now we fast forward the clock to right now on this friggin' circus debacle, I mean, which is totally a disgrace, horrible. You know, Biden will blame everybody but himself. And that is the mark, the character of a weak leader. Him and his woke liberal support will you know, they'll just say, well, they did it to spite Trump only. Just the way they're pulling out to spite Trump. Just because Trump started this negotiation and orderly pullout, well, we're just going to totally just blow that off just because we don't like Trump. To me, optically, and a guy spending 16 months over there and almost getting killed twice, that's the way that looks like to me. Because Trump had an orderly fashion where they were going to corral all the State Department workers and all American contractors there to get out in an orderly fashion, check them out slowly, and he had 2 points where he was going to get them out of: the Kabul Airport and Bagram. And Biden closes Bagram Air Base. It's a better fitted, more runway. You're able to support more aircraft to evacuate and so forth when that time comes. And to me, I truly believe that had he come out of the election and had served this second term, we wouldn't see this mess right now. He had a plan, but the Biden administration scuttled it just because I don't like Trump.
And a lot of people voted against Trump simply because they did not like Trump, and that's not a reason to vote against President Trump. You got to look at the issues, and a lot of Americans
and the policies,
the woke,
and the plans,
absolutely. Right. Biden went on the record saying he inherited this. Now, this is the classic same terminology, verbiage that Obama used. Mm-hmm. Now, remember, I inherited this. But what Biden inherited was the perfect plan to pull out of Afghanistan. He rejected it.
He did.
But he said he inherited that mess.
Trump had him on the 5-yard line.
This is Biden's watch now.
Yeah, and 8 months into it, 8.5 months into it.
And so
absolutely.
He absolutely made the decision to pull out the military.
Yeah.
Now, one of the basics that need not even be mentioned is you pull out the civilians first and do it very covertly, so that way they don't even know that they left, and then you pull out the equipment,
absolutely,
and then you pull out the troops. The military should come last in this scenario.
Absolutely,
because they're the protectors of Americans.
Well, those 3,000 troops that were there were spread out throughout Afghanistan. Okay, we went in there to eradicate the terrorists out of there and their terrorist camps and bases and so forth because of the 9/11 attack. Got it. But the thing is that these 3,000 were spread out. We controlled, unlike the British and Russians, they attempted to control the entire country. Let's go back in history a little bit. We came in there with our strategy that we're going to control just the main arteries and the main cities. Taliban can have the countryside. Villagers that don't like the Taliban, despise them, didn't want their Sharia law BS, they would call upon us for help. Now, these 3,000 troops were strategically placed in a way where, in case there was an evacuation, they would be strategically placed to accommodate and facilitate the evacuation. Well, Biden pulls them all back out. Well, let's just go home and we'll shut down Bagram, take off from Kabul, and now we have an estimated the State Department
they don't know.
They don't know. It's ranging from 10 to 40,000 American citizens, and then you have another 100,000 or so Afghan partners that were with us throughout these 2 decades on our side, and he left them behind.
They put their lives on the line too.
Yeah.
Now, in all honesty, President Trump himself said they're in it for the money. We paid them very well. And yes, we did promise them that they would come back.
Right.
But he said, Americans come first. We get the Americans out first, then
right.
we get the interpreters out.
Right.
He said that's how he would have done it.
Exactly.
On multiple interviews,
of course,
with Newsmax and all that.
Right.
And so, yeah, America first. I'm on board with the America first policy.
Right.
But now we have millions and millions, if not billions of dollars of equipment. We have brand new M1A1 Abrams tanks. We have brand new helicopters. I don't know.
I'm hoping the Taliban. I hope the Taliban don't have the skill to fly, because my God, we got a problem if some of those guys know how to fly.
President Trump said that the first to go in now are going to be the Russians and the Chinese, trying to copy all that technology, because they have the ability to do that now.
Oh yeah.
Cheaper versions, and so all the equipment is still there, and
absolutely
it's under no U.S. control at all. I think Biden just rejected the idea. I think they actually forgot about the American citizens there. I really honestly do. I think they just, whoever said, this is what we're going to do, Mr. President, and he just...
Because it all goes back to one thing, Randolph. My dislike, my hate for President Trump. It's his plan, so I'm just going to do it my way or the highway. And he said the buck stopped here. He said it himself. And the man don't even know. The man don't even know what side of the bed he wakes up on sometimes, to tell you the truth. It's just such a disgrace. Let me caveat off something here. Sure. Is that the military, by pulling them out, obviously you should have never pulled it out. It should have been like a Saigon type evacuation. Saigon was surrounded. Let's go back to April 1975, President Ford's plan. He had a circle where in in coordination, key word, in coordination with the South Vietnamese army, they surrounded Saigon in a circle, a collapsing circle.
That's how it should have been done.
And that's how it should have been done. And at the same time, the Americans had air support coming from the ocean, all the naval task force out there, launching jets and bombing the North Vietnamese as to slow their advance. Well, Biden didn't do none of that. And I don't know what U.S. fleet is out there sitting in the Indian Ocean, but he could have done that. I mean, and then he's got, my God, he's got a plethora of high-tech hardware at his disposal. He could have launched stealth fighters and bombers from Aviana. I think it's Aviana in Italy Air Force Base. He's got F-18 Hornets on the carriers and so forth, and he could have left the F-16s at Bagram. There was a squadron there. I mean, you can look at this in so many ways. To bomb or precision bomb the Taliban advance on Kabul, and at the same time, look for some of the assets that we've accidentally left there. Well, I don't know if it's an accident or not. I mean, I don't know. I think Biden's just bought off, so I don't think he cares either way. I think he's bought off, but I have no confirmation of that. But it looks that way anyway. But we could have bombed those pieces of equipment and incinerated them so the Chinese and Russians don't get, you know, an intel jump on what kind of equipment we have there. I mean, it's just like Mogadishu and Black Hawk Down. I mean, when they left the helicopters there, well, guess what the Delta Force did? They blew up, as soon as everyone cleared out of the area, they blew up all the equipment, so all you have there is
standard procedure.
Standard procedure. All you have is a wrecked piece of hulk and shell, and that's all you have. There's not much value left. So,
well, you remember the mission where they actually captured Osama bin Laden? One of our helicopters crashed, and that was one of those high-tech helicopters. We have so many high-tech helicopters, but anyway, the tail end of it broke off or something. And,
exactly.
And then they blew up the rest of it, I think.
Right, they did. They did.
And they were worried about the technology they would get just from that tail part of the helicopter. But now we have entire intact equipment there, and who knows what's going on.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
Our enemy knows everything now.
Yes, exactly, Randall.
Trump is about, don't let the enemy know what we're doing before we do it. They're telling them everything, so that's why they have so much.
Yeah, his deadline date was May 1st. I got it. But that was contingent and dependent on how the Taliban adhered to this negotiation that he set up. And then it all goes back to Biden again. He's trying to blame Trump. But guess what? It all goes back to you, Biden. Your hate for President Trump, just because it was his plan, just because it was Trump, I'm not going to follow that plan. But it was a plan. It's just unbelievable. You're acting either you're just a complete moron idiot or you're just totally bought off. And I think it's the latter.
It has to
because he's playing dumb now.
Well, he was, unfortunately, he was already dumb before he even took office.
Right.
But there was dementia setting in. We know Alzheimer's was setting in.
Yeah. It's a lethal combination of being bought off and dementia, probably, for all we know.
So they're just the Democrats are trying to time it just right to pull the 25th on him or tell him to resign in disgrace.
Look what's waiting. Oh, look what's waiting, though.
We have a much more ambitious and younger female.
Who knows nothing. Who knows nothing.
And also hates Trump and is extremely woke. And would be like a tyrant on the other states that stand in her way. And I think that time is coming, and I really do. And it's really sad to see because they had it all planned out. Joe was going to resign or get 25th Amendment, and then she's going to take the reins.
Exactly.
That's how it was all planned out.
Right.
And heck, if we impeach her, then we get Nancy Pelosi. So it's like there's like three people.
Let's caveat off that. Where's the we, me, or whatever they call it, the We Too movement? Okay. Well, I tell you what, for 20 years, women and children were allowed to go to school in Afghanistan. They were living a normal life. Normal. Normal. A normal life as possible. Look what's happening now. Woman gets killed, shot by the Taliban right on the street just because she's not wearing a burqa. And you know, I love it when even these female college kids and college kids in general here going, oh my God, we're so oppressed over here. You have no friggin' clue what oppression is until you go over there, especially the Helmand and Coast Province. I was in the Coast Province. So, I mean...
But what part of Afghanistan is that?
The eastern part, 12 miles away from the Afghan-Pakistan border.
Okay.
There was a forward operating base there, Salerno. That's where I was. I was about like maybe 16 months in country, and I spent half my time there, half my time at Bagram. I split my time.
I've been seeing a lot of videos surfacing now of a Taliban beating people. There was one guy who was passing by on a motorcycle with the Afghan flag and his Afghanistan type head covering.
Right.
they stopped the truck full of Taliban, and the guy was driving off his motorcycle, and he's like, stop, stop, stop. He pulled told him to take the flag off of his back, took his hat, punched him in the face, and then went about his business.
Right.
I mean, that's what's happened as we speak.
Yeah. Well, your First Amendment rights are totally gone now. I mean, I mean, extreme Sharia law is like almost like it's like a different flavor of Adolf Hitler. That's all it is. And that's what we were stemming the tide back. And I love it when the left wokes call Trump the Nazi and all that. Oh, really? Yeah, the guy was trying to protect the Afghan freedom over there. That's what it was all about. And let me tell you, the mission evolved. We had to clear the terrorist camps out of there 9/11/2001. But the mission also evolved as I was there 2004 and 5. I kind of wondered myself, you know, what are we doing here? I mean, our mission is complete. We've wiped out and eradicated most of the terrorists. But the thing is that we were a listening outpost there. We were keeping an eye on Iran, which funds terrorism worldwide.
Yeah, they don't do it.
We were keeping an eye on Russia. We're keeping an eye on China. We had CIA assets there. CIA is not fully equipped like the military to keep surveillance on them. So who's their backup? The U.S. military, right?
Yep.
So the mission evolved in that way, and I got it, Randolph. I know it had to end somewhere, but the way it's ending right now is totally a disgrace. It's the British Parliament censored Biden. They said, you know what? We're going to rescue our own citizens. This is the right nut of the NATO partnership. The British just blew him off and said, you know what? We'll handle it. You don't even have a plan. You're on vacation at Camp David. Okay. So I mean, it's I don't know. Words can't even describe it. I don't even know what he's thinking. Hey, I'm just a lonely retired lieutenant colonel. But if you put me in charge of the evacuation, I know exactly what to do. But there's timelines. He waited very last minute. I don't know if it was on purpose or not, but he waited very last minute. Oh, okay, you're going to put in 5,000 American troops, and they're like in a bowl in there in the Kabul airport, because half the Kabul airport's surrounded by mountains. Oh, yeah. Well, American soldiers were sitting on those mountains, probably pulling security along with the ANA, the Afghan National Army. Now you got Taliban probably sitting there chomping at the bit with their Stinger missiles possibly, or RPGs, going, hey, we can have a buffet here. We can shoot a jet down if we want.
They could shoot anything. Well, not only did they have their own weapons, but now they have all of our weapons with probably all the armament and all the rounds that they need to I mean, once they figure out how it works. I mean,
oh yeah,
I was a tank. All you do is press the button and say fire in the hole.
Hey, yeah, and the gun control people that want to take away guns from law-abiding citizens. Look at the Taliban right now. You know that handle right there that comes off the stock of the M4? They're running. There must be hundreds of them running around with that right now. And they got precision type scopes on those M4s. Okay, they can be used against our own troops. Plain Afghan citizens trying to go about their business and so forth. It is a circus, Randolph. I mean, when the Taliban moved into Kabul, they pulled the women from reporting the news. They said, get out. Yeah. You got to cover your jeans, you got to cover your dress or your tight dress or whatever. Get out. They changed everything. There's no more women reporting the news now.
It's really sad to see.
That's for you. That's for you. We movement people out there. Where the hell are you guys at?
Yeah, for those who want LGBTQ rights, for those who want rights for women, it's all thrown out the window over there. And Biden caused this, and yet they're struggling in our own country.
Absolutely.
Black Lives Matter is losing prominence. I put that on my Facebook recently. Nobody really talks
Wonderful.
about it because they've been used already. So now that Biden's in power, they don't care anymore about them. And
oh yeah, let me caveat off of that. Women.
It's always stuff that we do.
I'll caveat off of what you said. So women and the we movement here, okay, so the Taliban, all they love to do is rape women, and if you don't let them have their way, they'll cut your clitoris off, and if they're in a real bad mood, they'll probably either chop your hand or chop your head off or just put a bullet hole in your head, just like that woman that wasn't wearing a burqa. And hey, gays, LGBTQ groups and so forth, guess what? If you were over there, they'd be throwing you off the building or a cliff.
It's
so when you say oppression over here, you better think again, okay? And you're thinking that President Trump was an oppressive leader. You called him a dictator. You called him all kinds of names. You put a swastika on his pictures and all that. Yep. You are totally wrong. Totally wrong. Pro-American all the way was President Trump. That's it. That's all he was trying to do over there.
When he hugged that American flag, he meant it. I know he did.
Yeah.
He loves this country.
I haven't seen Joe Biden hug an American flag yet. I haven't seen Joe Biden kill an Iranian general torpedoed him with a missile from a drone. The Iranian general was responsible for killing 700 to 800 troops in Iran. I haven't seen Biden yet kill one terrorist like Trump did. He killed two of them, Baghdadi and somebody else. Precision strikes, no collateral damage or anything. Just incinerated the terrorist himself and his bodyguards.
It was an opportunity to get rid of a threat at the last minute, and Trump made a split-second decision, and we got a big thing done. We killed Soleimani. And boy, that really pissed Iran off. But you know what? There was probably an airman or a Marine that said, "Sir, we have an opportunity to do this," and then probably went down through the ranks. And then Trump said, "Do it," and they did it, and they succeeded. And they would not have done it unless they would have succeeded. So thank God that this just piece of evil is gone from the earth forever now. Thank God. But yeah, he's responsible for hundreds of deaths of military.
Yeah, I mean, I'll caveat off of that. I mean, there's going to be a lot of caveats here, Randolph. I mean, METTC, and part of that acronym is mission, enemy, time, civilians, and so forth. But the problem with Biden is he doesn't even know how to apply that basic principle as the position that he holds. I don't even call him the president, but anyway.
I just call him Joe.
I just call him Joe, and he doesn't know how to stick and move like President Trump did. He knew how to stick and move. And, people make the excuse, yeah, well, Trump was there just to enrich himself. The man actually lost money, okay? I mean, he's only been there 4 years. Joe Biden has been on the Hill, connected to Washington, D.C. in some capacity for the last 48 years.
He wrote checks to every department every single year, or every single month, or however often he got paid.
And he donated his presidential salary to charity. He didn't need it. Man's worth $14 billion. I mean, he didn't need the money.
He actually lost about $4 billion being president. Now, I'm hoping the president at least is able to relax. I heard he's lost some weight. He's looking good. I saw him in person recently in Edinburgh. Still a good man.
Mar-a-Lago. Yeah.
We're going to get him back, Andy. But
I hope so.
I want to ask,
if anything's better than anything's better than what we got now, man.
Oh, he's coming back 2024. What was your job in the service? What did you do?
I've done a plethora of things, operations and stuff, but my primary mission in Afghanistan was delivering the mail. So my postal company, the 841st Postal Company, was in charge at that time from 2004 and 5 in the SAJOA, which is the Combined Joint Operations Area, to deliver the mail to all over Afghanistan to American troops. Hey, you got to bring... Mom and Dad are sending Junior their Reese's Peanut Butter Cup, or
that must be nice.
or darling wife is sending to the husband, maybe a box of Cheerios or something that he can't get a hold of.
American, exactly.
Something American that he can't get a hold of, and so forth. So that was our main mission and stuff. But there were times where,
essential mission.
Well, we were one time the Marines. We would deliver mail to the Marines, and the Marines were short a gun. That we would spare some of our troops. This is underneath there because it was METTC again. You got to stick and move. They'd be short a gun. Hey, can we borrow one of you guys to, just help us go on a run and so forth on a convoy and stuff, or whatever mission. And I'm not going to get into the missions and so forth. But they'd be short a guy because sometimes one of their guys would get sick. He'd be at the casualty support hospital or whatever. So I said, yeah, you can borrow me. As a matter of fact, they borrowed me one time, but I'm not going to get into that.
No. I tell you, got to kill you.
Yeah.
Totally understandable.
Yeah.
I just wanted to. You're an Afghanistan veteran. Clinton here is an Afghanistan veteran and died honorably.
Absolutely.
For his country, because
he gave it all, man. the ultimate sacrifice.
I'm thinking that a lot of Afghanistan veterans nationwide are pretty pissed off and upset, and they feel betrayed. And I think that this is my guess, because I'm not an Afghanistan veteran, but I'm thinking they felt like they've been betrayed, and that the mission was not accomplished, and it was like a surrender. Like the 20 years that we were out there for was for nothing.
Right.
Do you think that you think that's a sentiment with your fellow Afghanistan veterans?
Well, I think the majority feel in some way at different levels that a couple of things. The way we're ending this wasn't good at all. It's a disgrace to the nation. Our partner allies are beginning, even some of our NATO allies are really wondering, under this leadership, they view us right now, our near peer adversaries view us as a paper tiger right now. That's all they view us as,
we look extremely weak, which means a lot of bad things.
And here, not only Clinton, but you stand behind you here, there's another soldier here. He was killed KIA in the Iraq War about the same time Clinton was killed in Afghanistan. And you look all over the OEF and OIF veterans that are buried out here. It's a very solemn and wonderful place.
I see a lot of Purple Hearts here.
Right, a lot of honor and integrity rest here and so forth. And that's what the liberal woke left is missing, or they themselves don't have it, because they've never stepped up to the plate and actually, you know, all they can do is run their mouth on social media, run around on their phone. They're walking around and they're looking straight at their phone. They don't even know where they're when they're walking. They don't know which direction they're going in. I mean,
some don't even look at pedestrian signs and they get hit by cars.
Right.
That's what I've seen.
Yeah. So then, you know, then they feel that privilege that even though it says don't walk, I'm going to walk anyway. Or yeah, I got 3 seconds left. You shouldn't be on the walkway. I mean, if red light's already on. But it's just, getting back to the meat and potatoes here, I mean, it's just a total disgrace that a lot of Afghan veterans that were in that war, that in the OEF portion, the Operation Enduring Freedom, that if this was an orderly pullout, I think we would have some positive closure. The way it's happening now, we will never get positive closure back. Never. The way it's happening right now. Because this administration already violated the first creed. You left Americans behind. General Garrison, even let's turn back to 1993 Mogadishu, Somalia. His creed was nobody gets left behind.
Oh, Joe left everybody.
Okay. Yeah. About 10 to 40,000, depending on the number and so forth. Yeah. I mean, it's
Does Bo Bergdahl relevant in this conversation?
He is, because one of the top leaders of the Taliban, he was in that swap during the Obama administration. Okay, say Obama administration now. Let's emphasize that. Bergdahl walked off his forward operating base without his weapon. Well, that's like getting the Bible and burning it right in front of someone's house, in front of a Christian's house. I can't find any other analogy for that. You never leave your weapon behind. So I don't know what the man was thinking. Was he defecting to the Taliban? I don't know what he was doing. But okay, they capture him, whatever. 6 or 7 guys, I don't know the exact number. I think it was 6 or 7 soldiers that got killed looking for him.
This was described by Obama. Bergdahl was just described by President Obama as serving with distinction. Now that's a slap in the face to this man right here.
Oh, absolutely.
To this man right here.
Absolutely. To both Clinton and Christopher over there who fought in Iraq, Clinton over here who gave it all in Afghanistan, the ultimate sacrifice. I mean,
a blank check to our country.
Yeah, pretty much with his life, and
he did not serve with distinction. For the record, he's a criminal.
Obama had Bergdahl's father with a full Taliban beard in the Rose Garden. And so the narrative there that day when they were pumping this up to really the rah, 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 the confetti and the parade type atmosphere, he goes, well, Bergdahl's father said, well, my son is still trying to adjust back to English. So he says in Pashtun, I'm your father, Bo. Really? If I was president, I would have never allowed that.
What is Pashtun?
Pashtun is one of the main dialects in Afghanistan.
So he said it in a different language.
He said it in a different language right there in the Rose Garden. And he's got his Taliban beard. Let me tell you something. At first I wouldn't allowed that. I wouldn't allowed his beard on there. Hey, buddy, you're going to shave, you're going to step into my Rose Garden, okay? You're not going to look that way. That's ridiculous.
He's probably going to claim First Amendment rights. but yeah, out of respect
out of respect of the office of the presidency, we are not in Kandahar, Afghanistan, or the capital of the Taliban, wherever that may be. It was Kandahar before 9/11. That's the White House. That's the United States of America. Okay, you don't go look. You don't go. You know what? If you want to grow back your beard later, go ahead. But you're not walking in my Rose Garden looking like that.
You can sit down in the press corps area if you want.
Yeah. Or you don't need to be filmed if you don't want. If you don't want to shave your beard, that's fine too. But the caveat off of that is that in this swap, one of the top 5 Taliban currently right now was in Gitmo, and I guess I don't know how it went. I don't know if he was moved, probably released from Gitmo, or he was moved to Bagram to be held. And of course now they let out everybody at Bagram. There was a prison there at Bagram holding some top Taliban and Al-Qaeda terrorists. Well, they've all been released now because the Taliban just said, you're free, you can go.
They have absolute rule.
And so that was part of the Bergdahl swap. So the Bergdahl swap had a pretty big epicenter as far as its shockwave. You know, not only did Bergdahl cause 6 American or 7 American soldiers' lives to be killed and end up like this. But, and I feel for those families, by the way, those soldiers too, because to me, they died for nothing. If I was a commander there, yeah, we'll try to look for Bird Dog, but I tell you what, we'll find a better time to look for him. And we know he left his weapon there, but had that been Bird Dog, he should be in jail in Leavenworth. He deserted his post. He's a deserter. He deserted his weapon. He deserted his post over there. I mean, they twisted this narrative and they set a bad precedent and standard at that time. I mean, the guy had a lawyer running around with him and so forth. I mean, okay, that's fine, but you want to know something? He's lucky. Bird Dog is lucky. This wasn't the Civil War. He would have been shot.
Oh yeah. Well, so there was a statute or some type of UCMJ that allowed for shooting a deserter.
Oh yeah.
In the midst of battle.
I don't know if it's really changed per se. I have to go back and look at the statutes and so forth. But I tell you what, at minimum, he should have been thrown in Leavenworth for life.
Now, what is his disposition right now? I mean, he's in Leavenworth, isn't he?
No.
He's in jail?
He's free.
He's free?
Yeah, he's free. He's back on his resident. I don't know what state he went to.
So he's free and clear?
Oh yeah.
His life as an American citizen?
Oh yeah.
So under the radar, because I'm sure guys
absolutely
like this and their families.
Yeah, it's a disgrace to Clinton over here, man. That's a disgrace to me, a disgrace to every friggin', not only Afghan war veteran, just every combat veteran that's been over the pond and has gotten shot at or rocketed at.
Probably actively working against us as we speak, because
could be.
I mean, his dad, the way he gets
his father speaks fluent Pashtun, so who knows what they're collaborating. Oh, let me just caveat. Let me just throw this one little thing here. Yeah. Why doesn't Biden and some of these woke high these tech companies like Twitter, why don't they ban the Taliban from spewing their rhetoric and so forth, and oh yeah, we're really good, we've really changed. Really? You've really changed. You just shot a woman in cold blood, murdered her just because she wasn't wearing a burqa. You've changed. I can see the change right now. Nothing's changed.
President Trump's account is suspended, but the leader of the Taliban, of course, can do whatever he wants.
The more things change, the more they stay the same with the Taliban, I guess.
There's a double standard there.
I tell you, Brother Randolph, the Taliban are going to spew, their optic and their psyop is they're going to tell you what you want to hear. The problem is, when President Trump was in charge, they were trying that on him and he goes, no.
I'm not falling for this.
I'm not pulling for none of it.
I'm not falling.
One American life gets, if I know it's directly connected to you, I'm lighting you guys up. Remember, the last year of his presidency, only 1 American death in Afghanistan. The last year of his presidency. That is unprecedented for a combat area of operation where you only have 1 death in the entire time. I mean, let me tell you, I was there 16 months. Afghanistan's the Wild West, buddy. It's a dangerous place. And it is still, if not the second, the third most mined country in the world, because you got a lot of kids running around there with missing legs and so forth. The first mined area is the DMZ in North and South Korea, the 38th parallel. But Afghanistan is either 2 or 3 in the most heavily mined area in the world. So there's still live ordnance laying around, even from the time when the Soviets were there.
So you have no idea. I mean, they're abandoned, but live mines are actually staying out there.
Yeah, I used to jog at Bagram Air Base. There was a 6-mile perimeter there. I would jog around this field, and this field was the inner part of Bagram. There was a field right there. There was a Soviet plane wreckage sitting there, and there's mines there. It was a mined area. You couldn't go in there. Of course, some of our soldiers in the middle of the night are pretty nuts. They would climb in there, and I guess they'd know where to step. They'd graffiti the old Soviet shot down aircraft and so forth, and I'm like, guys, what are you doing, man? I mean, you guys haven't grown up, man. I mean, you're walking it. I guess. I mean, yeah, and they must have snuck in beer on probably the DHL plane or whatever. I don't know, but golly, guys, it's like, God, grow up, man.
Let's see if I can throw a full beer at this one. See if that one goes off. Boom.
Hey, Randolph, you know what? That's probably what they were doing before they went over there. But man, I tell you,
man.
Lots of stories to tell, but I can't cram it all in this interview.
No, I understand. When Afghanistan began, wasn't it dubbed as the War on Terror?
Yes.
This was the
Correct.
direct result of 9/11.
Correct. That's what's our purpose. Yeah.
So our mission against terrorism was not against an individual at that time. We didn't know who it was back then.
Right.
And then we found out.
It was global.
20 years. wasn't our mission accomplished when Osama bin Laden was killed? Shouldn't we have started backing out?
One man doesn't stop anything. You're always gonna have terrorism, and it goes back to the Biden's administration. I'm glad you asked that question. It goes back to the Biden administration's inept or bought off mentality that terrorism will always be around, and you have to strategically stick and move on the global chessboard in how to mitigate it. And let me use that word again, mitigated. Nothing is perfect. You will never totally stop it, but you have to slow it down. We slowed it down in Afghanistan 20 years. We had a positive impact. Women were able to report the news and so forth. So many things. They were able to use Calvin Klein jeans. They were able to exercise their freedom just like American women here, to protest and so forth.
Because of people like Clinton.
Because of people like Clinton, yes.
And under their president's orders,
Yes.
they kept the peace, per se. But 20 years is a long time, man.
It is.
We should.
It is.
Eventually, do you think they got too used to us being there, and like we would be there forever? Or?
I think the ANA maybe got a little relaxed. Maybe they relied on us and our air power and so forth. But
could they have done something more, the Afghanistan military, to kind of wean off of the American?
Well, little did they know, okay, so the round estimate was close to 300,000 of the Afghan National Army. But hey, let's not forget, Taliban are about 250,000 as well. They've always been there. They've always nurtured their numbers. After 9/11, they lost a lot of their numbers. But pretty much as the war evolved in 20 years, I'd say after 2008, and when Obama came in, we killed less of them, and I guess they just kind of settled down, and
they're biding their time.
They're biding their time. They were biding their time, and they had
know how to wait, and then they
had a type of administration in Obama, and of course, obviously this one, where they were like, hey, we can relax a little bit. This guy's not really going to come after us too hard. They're not stupid. They're on social media. That's why we got to ban them in social media. That's one of their psyop operations. Why aren't we banning them? They're all over Instagram, Twitter, or TikTok. Hey, ban them. I mean, that is the enemy right there. That it's sitting right there. And let's go all the way over here to the local level. I mean, it's like these wokes that sit on city council, and let's stick and move here to the border real quick. The District 2 councilman with the funny hairdo even said, well, these illegals can get infected by us, so when they cross, they're going to get infected. Really? You care more about illegals that are unvaccinated, that might be carrying the virus, instead of the law-abiding taxpayers, citizens that are legally here? You care more about the illegals than us?
20 to 40% of them, and I talked to Sheriff Benny Martinez of Brooks County, 20 to 40% of them are coming in with COVID-19. They're infecting us, and it's not the other way around.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
We're fine with the stay in Mexico policy, which I might add, today is Saturday, the judge that ordered the Biden administration to do the stay in Texas, his ruling takes effect today.
Right.
So as of today, they're required to stay in Mexico. We'll see if the Biden administration complies. I don't think they are complying, but I'm going to take a look on that and see, and I'll report back on that for you.
No, that's
They need to
great.
stay over there,
right?
Because
exactly,
when you walk in with Nike shoes and your sports apparel, you're not a refugee.
Well, I mean, this has been always my suspicion is that, and we'll stick and move back to Afghanistan here, because we're always sticking and moving, because we know how to stick and move, unlike Joe Biden. But anyway, so you turn the clock here, and it's like this. To me, I've always suspected this is a mild, very subtle germ warfare attack by the Chinese government, and they said, well, hey, this is pretty convenient. We can kill some, reduce our population. We'll spread it to the world. We'll get it to America, because hey, man, under President Trump, we were outshining them economically. Now it's like, now we got a favorable guy here, so it's like, hey, yeah, well, maybe we can resume our normal operations and so forth. But the way to control a pandemic is you got to close the borders. And of course, Trump was accused of being racist for closing the borders. And it's like, it's nothing to do with race. It's trying to control the pandemic. I mean, the virus, the germ warfare attack. I mean, you got to start somewhere. That's where you start, right there. You start, then you started here by doing your own precautionary measures and so forth, as far as vaccine, wearing the mask, and I got all that. Yeah, but if you don't close the border, these people are coming in, and it's not even Mexican citizens anymore. It's just Central American and
all
Africa.
Over the world, Andy.
They are. They're going.
60 plus different nationalities have been identified.
And let me tell you something. Let's stick and move back to Afghanistan.
Well, they're coming from there too.
Some of these Afghan folks were told to burn their visas and passports. So now it's like the paperwork to identify who they really are. We don't know who they are. They might be legit or not. How do you know the Taliban might slip a couple of their operatives in there and then funnel them through Mexico, through the open border, and then before you know it, we're going to have terror cells everywhere. And then, you know, if you ever seen the movie Act of Valor, you'll know what I'm talking about, because he had actual Navy Delta Force and SEALs in that movie and so forth.
No doubt in my mind that some of them snuck in through that big famous picture that we saw of all of them inside the C-17. One of them were like waving like, hey, thank you.
And let me caveat off that. If we are such an oppressive and racist nation, and it just the United States of America is horrible, then why the hell did those people clinging on to a C-17 and one guy hiding inside the wheel well of the C-17 as it took off, and they plunged about, 500 to 1,000 feet to their death? It's like, you must be desperate to get away from there. You have chosen that path of death instead of facing the Taliban. The Taliban must be really that bad if you're that desperate to do that. So I'm saying,
are afraid.
They are afraid.
They're that afraid.
They're afraid. And so it's like, it's really that terrible that they want to come here because it's terrible over here? No, it's terrible over there. That's why they want to come here.
I'm going to close off with this. I want our viewers to know, and I posted this on my Facebook page.
Wonderful.
There was a video, and I got a screenshot of it, of a U.S. Marine picking up a baby over the barbed wire fence to safety. And I'm pretty sure that baby, that infant, made it on its way to probably the United States. But these people were so desperate, said, if you can't take me, please take my baby. They're holding the baby up in the air. The Marine dips down, he picks up the baby and hands it to his fellow Marine. That was probably not the policy of the administration, but I think that U.S. Marine had a bigger heart than anything.
Well, it goes to show...
That's how Americans are.
The diversity of the military is not just they go bang bang. We have all types of operations going on that people don't realize the positive footprint and impact we do leave. You know, the wokes and the liberals will always say it's negative, it's bad, it's all the time. But we have, you know, we have infrastructure building. I mean, we go back to 2014, Operation New Horizons, where Obama cut in half, where we were building schools, wells, and clinics down there. Our reserve units and National Guard units would go down there and practice their skills and so forth. So the military can stick and move into humanitarian mode as well, besides a wartime. But right now, what's going on in Afghanistan, I'll close this out, it's both become a humanitarian citizens crisis and a possible hostage crisis, and a possible, we've got to get them out of there, and hopefully none of our troops are killed while they're sitting there in this bowl in Kabul. They need to expand that mission and flex our muscles and get out of there and create more of an air cover to facilitate this evacuation.
As of right now, the U.S. military is ordered not to go out of the Kabul Airport area.
You're setting yourself up for failure.
American officials...
Lloyd Austin doesn't know. He has no clue.
Americans,
has no clue.
Officials are saying that we'll find a passageway for you. No, there is no passageway.
It's blocked off by the Taliban.
Email us.
They know that too.
Call a phone number. They're stuck there, Andy. And
yeah.
Biden screwed up, and now, well, it is what it is.
Yeah.
But also, of course, we're here to honor Clinton Thomas Newman's service, United States Army. Thank you, fellow brother in arms. We put this American flag here, burial flag, to represent him being here with us in spirit, because we know that he loved his country. We know he loved his God. And our Second Amendment rights, we love our guns, we love our country, we love our God.
Yep.
And we will always be founded on Judeo-Christian principles. And
absolutely.
This is what Clinton died for. This is the oath that he took, and he fulfilled his oath with honor.
Yeah.
And
the ultimate sacrifice.
The ultimate sacrifice.
Yep.
And a lot of people don't pay attention to stuff like this. I think the perspective that you see here, and I tried to get it in the shot as best as I can, all these beautiful headstones on a beautiful green grass area.
On a beautiful sunny day.
On a beautiful sunny day. And so I want to say thank you for your service, Lieutenant Colonel Andrew Vicencio.
Hey, brother. It's always a pleasure talking to you, man. You know, let me know if I can expound on and try to tie in with what's going on and try to make our country better, or try to turn it around.
And with that, I want to say God bless America and the great state of Texas.